have 3 new projects that I'm really hoping to cast on this month. I want to start my Nova cardigan. I want to start one of the shawls that I have had on my project list for a long time. And then tomorrow, the first clue drops for the Frost and Bloom blanket by Tony Lipsy that I bought that big batch of Baby Bee yarn from Hobby Lobby for. So, all right, let's take it. That was a lot. Let's take a quick step back. Hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio Podcast. Today is Monday, February 2nd, and this is episode number 79. I believe it's 79. Probably should have double checked. Yes, it's 79. It is sunny. It's a balmy 30 degrees, tongue in cheek. But after the cold weather we've had for the last several weeks, it feels actually quite nice coming out of school today. I'm like, wow, it feels pretty good. So yeah, I am getting over a cold, so if I sound a little nasally, that's what's going on there. I can talk more about that later, but I can tell I've been working all day. My throat's a little bit on the irritated side. I have a cup of tea here to sip. I got a little honey in it, so hopefully that will keep me going, and I will have enough in me to be able to create this update. I'm also trying to squeeze this in. I think my son is on his way home from school, so hopefully I can at least get this intro segment done before he walks in the door. So I have a finished object to share. I have updates on my projects, some project planning I want to talk about, in addition to my yarn shelf, hopes and dreams or project dreams, and such. So lots of different things to talk about. But before I do, let me talk about what I'm wearing. I have on just a little scarf today. It's the Silky Honeycomb scarf. Ooh, Silky Honeycomb scarf by Jane Weir. And this is something I knit back in 2015. It is held double. I didn't write down the yarn. I think it's a Debbie Bliss and then like a mohair or something from Halcyon Yarns, which is a local-ish yarn shop, although I think since the pandemic they have gone totally online. But this was a kit that I had gotten back in the spring of 2015, and then I knit it over the course of that summer, and I really like it. It's just a simple scarf. It probably should be washed and blocked actually because it's getting a little crunched up, but honeycomb kind of a scarf, and it's nice and lightweight and airy, and the color is beautiful. So that is what I am wearing today. So let's take a look at my blocking board. I have a finished object on my blocking board. I'm so excited. I did it. I finished my mystery MusiKAL. Here it is in all its glory. I actually really like the shape. It's more long and wrap-like than some of my other super big shawls, so I feel like it is going to be very, very wearable. Matter of fact, I haven't even tried it on. I was thinking I might wear it to school tomorrow, but let's throw it on real fast here. And oh, come on. Let's see the other piece of it. There we go. Oh yeah. Super fun. Love it. It's gonna be fun. Nice and bright and happy. Perfect for this winter weather that we are having cold, although like I just said, it's a little bit warmer than it has been. So let's talk about this project. I did finish it by the end of the month. However, I had to cut it a little short. So I don't know if you want to call that cheating or not, but it's done either way. But this is the border that I was working on here. There's a brioche section and then a garter. Is it garter? Yeah, it's a garter section. Actually, it's reverse stockinette is what it is. And then another brioche section with the I-cord bind off. I was supposed to have 3 equal brioche sections with 2 reverse garter sections in between. And as I was preparing to finish the second brioche section, I knew I was already down to nothing on the darker green, and I knew the lighter green, I didn't think I was going to have enough to do. I should have done 2 more rows. It was 8 total, which is like 16, but I think I only did 6, so like 12 rows. And I didn't think I had enough to do going back across the other direction. So I decided to just stop there, have it be a little asymmetrical, and call it good. So here's what I have for leftovers, which is not a whole lot. So again, this was all Hypnotic yarns, my Yarnables yarn in various colors. Okay, let's try again. My son came home. So I believe I was talking about the yarn. So for this project, I used mostly yarns from my Yarnables yarns. And I have, let me flip back over to my document here. Not a whole lot left. I have the most of the yellow here. I have about 19 grams of yellow, and I have about 15 grams of the macaron. And then I have 2 grams each of my 2 greens. So I really used these almost to their completion. And then I did use some of my mohair. I still have a bit left of that. This weighed back in. I didn't make a note. I want to say I have about 6 grams of the mohair. And this is my Homespun Girl Yarns mohair in Mermaid. And this is leftovers from last year's Westknits knit-along. So yeah, I am super, super excited to have this one off the needles and just have it done because it's a big project, but to be able to use and wear it too. And I'm really pleased with the combination of colors and how they came out. And I really love this section here. I think I talked about that when I completed this section, but I really like that. I like all the sections. I really do. I'm really happy with this one. So that is what I have on my blocking board for today. Moving right along to my project bag, let's talk first, I think, about my Imagination Quilt. I have finished color number 15. So here is my stack of squares for color 15. They're in 2 different styles. I have solid squares and I have half squares with the bare yarn. And then I did actually start sewing together another block as well. It isn't quite completed. I did the horizontal sewing lines and I still have to sew down vertically, but here, if I back it up, there we go. Now you can see it fully. So really fun. I'm gonna hopefully get this one finished, getting sewn up this week, but that one is still moving along. My Westknits shawl really took priority last week. I got the bee in my bonnet to see if I could finish it by the end of the week. So that really, when I had extra time, that's where my focus was. So a lot of the work that I'm going to show you moving forward happened over the weekend after I had finished the shawl. So, and that's definitely when that happened there. I am using, for my Imagination Quilt, I should tell you, it is by Meema Makes. It's a crochet project. And I am using my Advent from Emma's Yarns that I got this past Christmas. I can't remember the name, Walk in the Wild or something like that. So anyway, that is that. I don't think there's any. Oh, and I'm using Knit Pick Stroll Bear as my main color throughout. So I ordered 4 skeins of that, and we'll see how much I end up needing. So I think that's that one. My second project I can talk about is my Deck the Halls shawl. This is by Tabetha Hedrick, and this is another Emma's Yarns project. I'm using Emma's Yarns. This is one of her theme packs, and it is the Fa La 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 theme pack. Ooh, come on, there we go. Trying to do it one-handed. That doesn't always work. So I yesterday pulled this out for the first time really in a while, and I completed color number 4. So I am on the 5th color, which is officially, well, when it's done, it's officially halfway. But now that my Westknits shawl is done, I should be able to get some pretty good work on it. So you can see the work. I had just started this color last time, and I got the whole color done. So there we go. It's got these fun stretch stitches in here where you, when you're knitting across, you wrap the yarn multiple times, and so it creates these fun little, almost like a drop stitch, but not really, because it's just extra long. When you knit back across, you drop all the loops, and so it makes an extra long stitch. So, and I've got my fun little marker here from Woolen Woman Fibers. And it's also in my Woolen Woman Fibers project bag with a fun wools on it. So it's very, very wintry themed, and I'm enjoying this one very much. I'm looking forward to giving this one more love, and it's really, there's just a lot of garter stitch in it, so it's actually a really fun one to pull out and do because it's very easy, very rhythmic, not a whole lot of thinking. I got to keep the pattern next to me to make sure that I'm staying on track. But a lot of the rows are just garter, so works out really, really well. The last project that I want to talk about today is my 2 best friends socks, and I was able at Bible study last week to finish the 2nd sock. So here's where I was, and I got all the rest. Like I even did all of my toe decreases at Bible study, and I just needed to Kitchener it when I got home. I know there's a way that you can Kitchener without a needle, using your knitting needles, and I don't know it well enough, and I didn't feel like fussing with it, so I just set it aside at that point. We were pretty much done anyway. So I've gotten the first sock done, and I just barely cast on my cuff for my second one. So we'll see how much of this I can get done this week. I have a mild plan to see if I can get the second sock done by Sunday, because then it would qualify as an entry in the Downseller Studios knit along, Pigskin Party knit along that ends on Super Bowl Sunday. So I don't know. We'll see if I end up pushing through to get this. I could totally knit a whole sock in a week. That's definitely not out of the question. But my yarn is from Little Wolf Knits, and it is the 2 Best Friends colorway. And so you can see the full skein right here. So that is the projects that I have on my needles. I didn't really touch, I don't think I touched my cross stitch at all this last week. And I think I'm going to leave, I have some project planning that I've done, but I think I'm going to leave that for the next section in my project dreams. So let's move on. So now that I have finished my Westknits shawl, which is a big, big push, I decided that I wanted to create a plan for the rest of my projects, kind of like what my February was going to look at. I want to cast on some new projects. So I think let's talk about my project planning first, and then I'll talk about the 2 new projects that I have on the horizon. I'll set that bag next to me here. So I know I've talked about this in the past, but I have kind of taken inspiration from Nitty Natty of Love and Stitches podcast and how she does her project planning. So what I did is I took out my notebook and I first listed out my whips. I listed out kind of some of the new projects that I wanted to do, and then I started to create a plan for how I could work through them. So I kind of had a goal to try to finish my Deck the Halls shawl by the end of February, and definitely my 2 Best Friends socks by the end of February. And then my rough goal is to, I actually sat and kind of planned out roughly, really roughly, like the next several months, just to kind of sketch out a little bit of kind of down the road what I want to be doing. And I'm kind of hoping to finish my Imagination Quilt by the end of March. So given that, and then I have 3 new projects that I'm really hoping to cast on this month. I want to start my Nova cardigan. I want to start one of the shawls that I have had on my project list for a long time. And then tomorrow, the first clue drops for the Frost and Bloom blanket by Tony Lipsy that I bought that big batch of Baby Bee yarn from Hobby Lobby for. So, all right, let's take it. That was a lot. Let's take a quick step back. So, first of all, my Deck the Halls shawl, I created a plan I broke it down over the course of the 4 weeks, which February very nicely and conveniently has 4 full weeks. So it worked out quite well. So in this first week, my goal was just to do color 4, which I did yesterday. So I'm already ahead of the game. Gotta love that. Next week, I am hoping to do colors 5 and 6. And then the following week, colors 7 and 8. And then the 4th week, colors 9 and 10. So if I do 2 colors a week, I will have that whole shawl done by the end of the month. If I get really into it and I do more colors than that, great. It'll be done sooner. Fantastic. My 2 best friend socks. Yes, I have a rough, vague thought of possibly finishing it in the coming week, but if I don't do that, then my goal for this week here is to do cuff and half the leg. Next week to do half the leg and the heel. The following week to do half the foot, and then the last week to do the other half the foot and the toe. So that's kind of how I've broken down the one sock. So that the whole sock will get done by the end of the month. So that will be 2 finished projects by the end of the month, for sure. And then for my Imagination Quilt, I just broke down my colors basically so that I was having all of my color squares done by the end of the month. So for right now, for this week, my hope is to do colors 15, 16, and 17, which I just finished color 15. So I got a good start on that. And then, of course, I want to start my Frost and Bloom blanket tomorrow. And then my Nova cardigan. So let's talk about my Nova cardigan. I will pop the picture in here. This is one that has been on my to-do list since, I think, September. I have this yarn here that I bought in New York. I bought it in Brooklyn, actually, last summer when I was visiting with my daughter. It is Illimani Sabri in the fawn, toss the tag, in the fawn colorway, and it is a cotton alpaca blend. It's a little bit crunched up, but I have done my swatch and everything, so I have all the data on that. I don't remember which side. I did 2 different needle sizes with the garter ridge in the middle to separate them. I don't remember which is which, but I have the needles here. So it looks like I was planning to do it on size 2. Okay, there we go. That little tickle is creating a cough because I've been talking all day. So I don't know if I will have an opportunity to cast that on this week. I kind of would like to, but then I kind of also want to keep pushing through some of these older projects. It's really kind of a toss-up. The other project that I'm hoping to do, and I didn't grab the yarn out, but is the Sailing Shawl by, I think it's Meg Gatsby. I don't have it in my notes. And it is with my Metamorphosis yarn. So I really would love to get that one cast on. I think that one's going to be a really, really quick knit. The challenge is I don't really want to have 2 shawls going at the same time because I want to finish my Deck the Hall shawl. So I don't know. We'll see how things slice and dice. I have February break coming up, 2 full weeks of school here, and then it's February break, so I'll have lots of knitting time because I'm not going anywhere. So that will hopefully allow me an opportunity to kind of get ahead. And then, of course, like I said, the Frost and Bloom blanket starts tomorrow. There is no urgency on that one. I know I'm going to want to start it right away and just kind of get a feel for it and play with it. But I have no specific timeline on that one. We will just see. I'll just see. I'll run with it. And I really need to get going on my daughter's cross-stitch project too because I don't want to let that linger. And I'm afraid if I don't keep going that it's just going to get on the back burner entirely. So that is what is going on in my project dreams for right now. On my yarn shelf, I have received my February Yarnables box. This will be my last box. I actually went in after I had received it and canceled my subscription. I did not realize I had subscribed. It would have been 5 years in October, and I will say I was really tempted to let it go until I hit my 5-year anniversary, just because that would have been nice, round, and even, and all the things. But no, I need to take a break. I love, love, love the yarn. I love, love, love the boxes. But I think I already talked about this last week, but I am also getting the Wool and Women Fibers boxes. I'm enjoying those boxes just a little bit more, and I have a lot of yarn, so I need to kind of slow down on the yarn intake. But I did get February's box, so this is the only thing on my yarn box, my yarn shelf for this week. If you have gotten yours and you haven't opened it, or you haven't gotten it and you don't want to be spoiled, then, oh, excuse me, I suggest you jump ahead to the next section. Okay, so let's start with the goodies that are in the box. The first one is this Cup of Love tea. It is made with organic rose and organic Tulsi. I have no idea what Tulsi is, and they are actual little tea bags. So that will be super fun. Love my tea. Got my tea going right now, actually. So we'll put those in the kitchen so I can drink those up. The next little thing I got from Buttons Galore, these really cute little heart buttons. So I don't know what I'll use those for, but those are super fun. And then I really loved the last one is a tape measure. Have you ever said that? It'll block out. Of course it will, right? And so it's just one of these kinds of tape measures. So super cute, super fun. And then, of course, the yarn. The theme this month is Almost Love. Really, really fun. I love the pink and black combo. So there's the name of it. Super, super pretty. I love her yarn. I really do. And part of me is sad to not get it. But again, I need to be using what I have. So that is my goal. So that is the one addition to my yarn shelf for this week. Finally, my day-to-day section, and this section is going to be very brief because it was a quiet week and then it was a quiet weekend because I got sick. So let's see, in my notes, yeah, I literally have fairly quiet week, all school winter day out, and homesick all weekend. So on Friday, we did our third annual AMS winter day out, where the entire school heads out on different field trips. We had about 200 of our kids go to one of our local mountains for skiing and snow tubing. And then the rest of the building divided up into 3, and that was like an hour's drive away, so that was like an all-day trip. And then the rest of the building divided up to, we have a bowling alley, we have an ice arena, and we have a roller rink. And they were able to choose one of those 3 locations to go to. And those were a little bit shorter trips. I think it was about 3 hours in each of those locations, though. And it's a great, great day. It's a really great opportunity for some of our underprivileged kids to experience some fun activities that they might not get to experience otherwise. So the kids really look forward to it. I think the staff looks forward to it, and it's a great day. I unfortunately, however, that day was starting to come down with a cold, and so I went in the morning. I was slated to leave about 10:45 to go to the roller rink and supervise there, and about 10:30, I walked downstairs and I looked at my assistant principal. I'm like, I think I just need to go home. I'm really not feeling good. She's like, I can see it behind your eyes, Michelle. And it was true. I could feel it behind my eyes like that. My throat was a little bit sore and gummy. I was a little bit congested. Not like really, really sick, but just enough to be draggy. So I did actually come home. I took a nap, and then I basically didn't leave for the entire weekend. I went to church yesterday, and that was it. So here we are. It's Monday. I am definitely feeling better, although I can feel I'm still a little nasally, but my energy feels better. So That's really great. I have a quiet evening tonight. I don't have anything planned. And my throat's a little bit irritated because I have been talking all day because I've been working. But I got through my work day. I'm definitely on the upswing. But that's it. Again, really not a whole lot to report. Quite boring, actually. So I think with that, I'm going to close this out. If you enjoy the podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe, so you will know when I post something new. I will have links down below in the show notes for all of the things that I have talked about. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram when I post as Knittin' Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. And you can also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. With that, I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting.